هذه جهنم التي يكذب بها المجرمون يطوفون بينها وبين حميم آن.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري. In ayats 31 to 45 of Surah Rahman, Allah SWT changes the entire scene of the surah and focuses on the wrongdoers, both man and jinn, who repeatedly rejected faith and kept reverting to evil deeds in the Duniya. Allah SWT starts off with a sarcastic remark that He will free Himself up for the wrongdoers and give His undivided attention to deal with them on the Day of Judgment. It was these same disbelievers who thought that Allah SWT is so busy tending to every detailed aspect of the universe that He may not be able to look at each and every wrong committed by them in the dunya. So, Allah SWT replies to them sarcastically in ayat number 31 and in fact calls them saqalan, heavy burdens of sinners. The sarcasm then turns to a challenge. The imagery is scary for the culprits, the disbelieving men and jinn, as they are dared to escape the confines of the earth and the skies. This silly challenge is mentioned in ayat number 33 as Allah SWT is indeed the master of the universe and every single nook and cranny is under His absolute and complete control. The use of the word aqtari is meant to tell them that the challenge pertains to even the smallest crevice that they may find to escape. They can try. If they were to even try and escape, where would they go? The jinn are addressed first because they have a greater ability with mobility to travel far away distances when compared to mankind. But even the jinn can only escape into the sky, and that is turning towards the heavens. In Surah Mulk, ayat number 5, Allah SWT mentions that He has made the stars as weapons to pelt down the shayateen if they were to try and escape. It is also interesting to note that the stars mentioned in this ayat are also confined to the first heaven, whereas Allah SWT has created 7 heavens. Surah Mulk, ayat number 3. Hence, their escape is rather limited in terms of distance. Allah SWT continues with His sarcasm by telling them that they cannot leave without the permission of the sultan, authority. The authority is like a passport or document that is issued by the state, which gives authority for the citizens of that country to travel to other countries. Since the authority of the dunya is Allah SWT Himself, these wrongdoers would never be issued that passport by Allah SWT anyway. To add to their plight, Allah SWT mentions that 2 different kinds of fire will be sent down upon them from which they would not be able to escape. This is mentioned in ayat number 35, in which shuhaz is referred to as pure fire without smoke, and nuhaz is smoke without flame. It is to be noted that both these kinds of fires are different from the fire from which the jinn are made, called ma'arij. So they would definitely impact and hurt them. The imagery of the last day becomes even more devastating when the color of the sky will become like wardah, as used in ayat number 37. This is a reference to a particular red color which looks like the flesh of a lion when it is freshly skinned. It is to try and make us visualize what the sky would look like if all celestial bodies crash into each other, and the destruction of them, one after another, exploding into each other, would paint such a gruesome color in the sky. The word kadihaan is akin to a burning hot oil of different colors dripping from the sky onto the earth, possibly from the liquification of matter from the other stars and/or planets, which would collide and get destroyed. Ayat number 39 mentions that on that day, no questions will be asked from the guilty wrongdoers to give their defense. Their faces will be enough evidence to prove their guilt. Here, interestingly, man is mentioned before the jinn because he was given the gift of bayan, which was not offered to the jinn. So man will be accountable first, as he did not use his intellect to deduce right from wrong. Ayat number 41 mentions that the guilty ones will be recognized by the bisima, darkness on their faces, meaning the absence of light, Allah's nur. They would be gathered by the angels from the nawasi, heads, and aqdam, feet, like animals, and then thrown in the hellfire. Ayat number 43 gives a very scary description of Jahannam, hellfire. By the deliberate use of the words hazihi Jahannam, meaning this is Jahannam, as if it is right next to us. And once in Jahannam, their never-ending misery will continue, from burning in the fire to the painful suffering endured from drinking boiling hot water. This excruciating experience is portrayed in ayat number 44, where the word yatufuna comes from tawaf, meaning going round and round in circles endlessly. The word an is the extreme boiling temperature of water. It should be noted that the boiling temperature of the water, hamim, in Jahannam will be far greater than that on earth. One cannot even imagine the state of those who drink this, as their guts would implode, and they would be forced to drink it, as they could not bear the fire from which they came burning from. It is literally like the phrase goes, out of the fire and into the frying pan. This horrible imagery and plight of the disbelievers will continue until Allah wills otherwise, and that may vary from one disbeliever to another, as stated in Surah Hud, ayat number 107. This Ramzan, let us reflect on the argument that if Surah Rahman is all about mercy, then why does Allah SWT choose to give such graphic and horrific imagery of the disbelievers on the Day of Judgment? But this is exactly what His Rahmah is all about. By giving such vivid descriptions of the plight of disbelievers, Allah SWT is showing us a movie in advance, not missing out any detail, in trying to caution us not to do things that will put us in that scenario, that there is still time for us to redeem ourselves and try and better ourselves to alter our qadr by controlling our lusts and desires, and try to become the best versions of ourselves by keep repenting and ask Allah's forgiveness and do as many good deeds with sincerity of intention. This is indeed a huge blessing for us, and it is horrific descriptions like these that may turn us towards the light. Ameen. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Thank you for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you found this reflection on Surah Rahman meaningful, please like and share with those who may benefit, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. May Allah's rahmah and barakah be with you and your loved ones this Ramzan and always. Ameen. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram.